Welcome to the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady University's Master of Science in Nutritional Sciences Graduate Program Preceptor Orientation for 2025. The MS&S program at FranU is led by Program Director Catherine Fake and Director of Clinical Education Amy Serio. Faculty, preceptors, and students are supported by Teosha Nelson, who serves as the program's Academic Support Coordinator. 4 graduate students began the program in fall of 2024. After completing their first semester of graduate school, they will begin their supervised experiential learning experiences in professional work settings throughout the Baton Rouge and Lafayette areas. Their first day of rotations is planned for Monday, January 13th, 2025. Welcome to FranU, the class of 2025. ACEND defines a preceptor as a practitioner who serves as faculty for students or interns during supervised practice by overseeing practical experiences, providing one-on-one training, and modeling professional behaviors and values. The requirement for program preceptors must include that the education and experience needed to provide appropriate guidance for the supervised experiential learning. Preceptors must be licensed as appropriate to meet state and federal regulations or credentialed as needed in the area in which they are supervising students and must be qualified to serve as educators and professional role models. Preceptors must also be oriented to the mission, goals, and objectives of the program, the ACEND Standards, and the required competencies. And lastly, program preceptors must be trained on strategies to recognize and monitor biases in self and others and reduce instances of microaggressions and discrimination. The mission of the program is to educate and form entry-level registered dietitian nutritionists or dietetic practitioners to meet the core competencies for becoming servant leaders in health and wellness. With a concentration in community nutrition, graduates will be educated in the most rigorous, individualized, professional, and comprehensive manner. The MS&S program has 2 concentrations. First is the ACEND accredited Future Education Model Graduate Program, referred to as the RDN concentration. This concentration integrates supervised experiential learning experiences and leads to the RD credential. Our other concentration is the thesis. This concentration is ideal for bachelor's prepared RDNs or students in a freestanding dietetic internship program. This does not lead to the RDN credential and is completed 100% online. As most of you know, CDR now requires a master's degree as the entry-level degree to become an RD. Students who come to FranU and enter into the RDN concentration earn a master's degree and complete 1,000 plus hours of supervised experiences through our ACEND accredited graduate program, meeting this requirement in the process to becoming an RD. 2 program goals with specific objectives have been established to measure current student and program graduates' achievement of benchmark data established by ACEND. Goal number 1 states that the program will prepare graduates to be competent for entry-level practice as registered dietitian nutritionists. Objective number 1 is related to passage of the RD exam and states that the program's 1-year pass rate, defined as graduates who pass the registration exam within 1 year of first attempt on the CDR credentialing exam for dietitian nutritionists, is at least 80%. Program objective number 2 states that at least 80% of program students complete program or degree requirements within 25.5 months, which is defined as 150% of the program's length. Lastly, objective number 3 states that 100% of students will pass the program's comprehensive entry-level nutrition and dietetics skills simulation exam with a score of no less than 80%. This exam is administered to each student after the completion of rotations and prior to graduation during a final intensive skills checkoff. Outcomes data for the past 3 years show that students are not only meeting but exceeding these benchmarks. Our second program goal states that graduates of the program will be compassionate, well-qualified professionals and servant leaders in health and wellness prepared to provide entry-level nutrition and dietetic services. There are 4 objectives that have been established to help meet this goal. Objective number 1 states that of graduates who seek employment, 80% are employed in nutrition and dietetics or related fields within 12 months of graduation. This benchmark is measured through an alumni survey. Objective number 2 states that 80% of employers rank graduates as satisfied or above in preparation for entry-level practice. This is measured through an annual employer survey. Objective number 3 states that 80% of program graduates take the CDR credentialing exam for dietitian nutritionists within 12 months of program completion. Lastly, objective number 4 states that 60% of graduates are involved as a leader in a community service and/or professional organization in health and wellness. This benchmark is also measured through an alumni survey. Outcomes data for the past 3 years show that students are not only meeting but exceeding these benchmarks. On January 26, 2024, the MS&S DI program received approval to reorganize to a demonstration program accredited under the Future Education Model Accreditation Standards, known as the Graduate Program. The outline of events since the application was submitted in February of 2023 is shown here. Our last cohort of DI students graduated in December of 2024, and our first cohort of graduate program students were admitted in August of 2024. While this change does not grossly impact preceptors, it's a significant milestone in the program's history, as we are the first ACEND accredited graduate program in Louisiana and along the Gulf Coast. There are, however, some changes and key points to mention as we transition under the Future Education Model Standards. Previously, our program and all DI programs are designed to meet competencies of a post-baccalaureate certificate program. With this reorganization, it brings the graduate didactic coursework under ACEND accreditation umbrella, thus elevating not only the rigor but the quality of the master's curriculum, as all assignments are designed to prepare students for entry-level practice at the master's level. There are some terminology changes as we move forward. Our students are no longer referred to as dietetic interns. They are simply just students or graduate students, and the word internship was removed from all marketing materials. Supervised practice will now be referred to as supervised experiential learning. A major change is that graduate programs are not required to accept students who only come from DPD programs. We were able to liberalize our admission requirements to include 36 hours of prerequisite courses, thus allowing greater access to students who wish to become RDs. Time spent on master's coursework projects can be counted towards the overall 1,000 minimum hours required of supervised experiential learning experiences. Also, students are taught under a competency-based education model consistent with other higher education clinical programs, where students are evaluated by achievement of 37 competencies or CRDNs and over 200 performance indicators. Competency-based education provides insight in what the students have learned, still need to learn, and where the program can improve. It is important to realize that competence is not achieved immediately, but over time. Competence is more than assessing tasks. It is the ability to demonstrate the required knowledge, skill, and judgment to perform a particular function in the work environment to achieve optimal skills. Competence is a broad objective that necessitates an integration of knowledge, skills, and behaviors in practice. This education model is guided by Miller's assessment pyramid, where students must know the information in order to work their way up the pyramid to perform the competency. The competency level that ACEND determines for each CRDN will guide the type of assessment and level of assessment. As preceptors, it's important for you to take time to work with the student to ensure they are rising to the level of competency deemed necessary for entry-level practice. Next, I would like to review some rotation and professional updates over the past year. There are several new rotation sites that have been added, including the Eastern Louisiana Mental Health System in Jackson, Louisiana, and the Diabetes Camp. Additionally, 19 new preceptors, including 4 FranU alumnus, have been added to our database due to new rotation sites or staff changes. At the time of this recording, FranU has on file a total of 144 active preceptors. This slide breaks down the total number of planned hours by semester, as well as professional work settings, like hours spent with preceptors at rotations or alternate experiences like graduate assignments and skills lab trainings. Students spend the first fall semester completing 60 hours of alternate experiences, mainly through their participation in a hands-on skills lab course titled Advanced Methods of Nutrition Assessment. This course prepares students for rotations by incorporating a variety of learning activities, including swallow screen training, placing NG tubes, biometric screening, telehealth, nutrition education and counseling, performing NFPEs, nutrition support calculations, and charting in the electronic medical record. During semester 2 in the spring, students begin rotations which continue through the next 2 semesters up until graduation in December. 12 weeks or 384 hours are completed in the second and fourth semester, and 8 weeks or 256 hours are completed during semester 3, the summer semester. In total, students gain approximately 1,135 hours of experience, exceeding the requirement of 1,000 hours set by ACEND. Every 5 years, ACEND establishes standards which outline compliance measures for all accredited programs. Content within the graduate program standards include 8 categories: program characteristics and resources, a description of the program's mission, goals, and objectives, and program evaluation and improvement plan, a curriculum map with identified learning activities, student learning assessment and curriculum improvement, information on faculty and preceptor qualifications, description of supervised practice sites, information that is needed to give to prospective students and the public through recruitment materials such as our webpage, and additional policies and procedures for enrolled students. The entire 45-page document can be found on eatrightpro.org website. Standard 3 states that the core competencies must be the basis on which the program curriculum and learning activities are built within the context of the mission and goals of the program. 37 core competencies and 224 performance indicators are divided into 7 graduate program units. GP Unit 1 consists of 16 competencies related to applying foundational sciences to food and nutrition knowledge to meet the needs of individuals, groups, and organizations. GP Unit 2 consists of 5 competencies and outlines how students should apply and integrate client or patient-centered principles and competent nutrition and dietetics practice to ensure positive outcomes. GP Unit 3 consists of 4 competencies and outlines how students should apply food systems principles and management skills to ensure safe and efficient delivery of food and water. GP Unit 4 consists of 2 competencies and outlines how students should apply community and population nutrition health theories when providing support to community or population nutrition programs. GP Unit 5 consists of 5 competencies and outlines how students should demonstrate leadership, business, and management principles to guide practice and achieve operational goals. GP Unit 6 consists of 3 competencies and outlines how students should integrate evidence-informed practice, research principles, and critical thinking into practice. And GP Unit 7, which consists of 2 competencies, outlines how students should demonstrate professional behaviors and effective communication in all nutrition and dietetic interactions. Standard 4 outlines compliance regarding student learning outcomes assessment and curriculum improvement. At each rotation site, a document titled Curriculum for Supervised Practice, Assessment of Student Learning Outcomes is created in partnership between a faculty member and site preceptor. A student learning outcome assessment plan includes learning objectives that state specific activities to complete, which core competency each activity satisfies, and a rubric to ensure each preceptor assesses each learning activity. In addition, all students must complete a rotation goals and reflection form, which allows them to perform self-assessment and develop goals for self-improvement throughout the program. At the end of each rotation, each main site preceptor assesses the student's performance through a performance appraisal. Additionally, the student has an opportunity to evaluate the rotation and site preceptor through the rotation evaluation form. Lastly, the preceptor is asked to shadow the student during an education or counseling experience and complete the nutrition, counseling, and education skills evaluation form if applicable. The next 5 slides will go into further detail about each form required for all rotations. This is an example of the assessment of student learning outcomes curriculum for supervised practice document. As mentioned, each rotation has its own specific form with identified objectives and learning activities, core competencies in which the learning activity is aligned to, the method of evaluation, a space for the preceptor to date and initial, and a 9-point grading scale rubric to assess the student's achievement of each learning activity. Please refer to the rubric provided to interpret the scaling rubric. A score of 1 to 3 does not meet expectations for that specific competency, as the student shows limited knowledge, inconsistent work, and frequently relies on the preceptor's assistance for greater than 50% of the time. A score of 4 meets expectations, but at the beginner level. The student has basic knowledge, but still frequently relies on the preceptor for guidance. In order to meet a competency at the entry-level expectation, a student must achieve a 5 for that objective. Any objective meeting lower than a 5 may require remediation and extra time honing in on that skill. This is the only form that is not completed in Typhon, which is the program we use to disseminate surveys and evaluations. Incorporation of reflection assignments throughout the curriculum is a main feature of a competency-based graduate program. Therefore, students must perform self-assessment and develop goals for self-improvement during each rotation. At the beginning of each rotation, all students are expected to complete a rotation goals and reflection form, which indicates 3 rotation goals. These goals should be discussed with the preceptor on the first day of the rotation to ensure all goals can be met. At the conclusion of the rotation, the student and preceptor should review each goal set to determine achievement. Students should reflect on the achievement of these goals and plans for continued growth by completing their entire form. This form is completed in Typhon. The next evaluation form is known as the performance appraisal. Unlike the assessment of student learning outcomes, curriculum for supervised practice form, which indicates specific learning activities for each rotation, this form evaluates the student's ability to demonstrate that these learning activities assisted in the development of 10 areas: written communication, oral communication, teamwork and collaboration, leadership skills, professional attributes, which include showing initiative and proactively developing solutions, patient advocacy, customer focus, risk-taking, critical thinking, flexibility, time management, work prioritization, and work ethic. This evaluation form also assesses how learning activities improved negotiation skills, ethical practice, problem-solving skills, decision-making skills, and cultural competence. As you can see, this evaluation form also includes the 9-point grading scale rubric, where a 5 is met expectations at the entry level. Student evaluations for each rotation site are used to assess whether the program has provided an adequate experience and met the learning goals. Each student can provide feedback regarding their learning experiences and overall satisfaction at the completion of each rotation. This form is completed by the student and Typhon at the end of every rotation. Feedback is collated and sent to the site preceptors throughout the year. The Nutrition, Counseling, and Education Skills Evaluation Form is intended for rotations in which this skill is performed. Examples include hospital rotations, outpatient clinics like oncology, diabetes, and renal, and sports rotations, to name a few. Please note that this form is not applicable to food service management and research rotations in which direct patient or client interaction with delivery of nutrition education is not performed. A student must submit a minimum of 5 completed evaluation forms throughout the course of the program. This form is completed in Typhon. Standard 5 focuses specifically on faculty and preceptor qualifications. ACEND states that each program must have a sufficient number of qualified preceptors to provide the depth and breadth of learning activities required in the curriculum and exposure to the diversity of practice. Preceptors must show evidence of continued competency appropriate to teaching responsibilities, either through professional work experience, graduate education, continuing education, and research or other activities leading to professional growth in the advancement of their profession. To comply with this standard, we are required to have on file every preceptor's resume or preceptor qualification form, which ACEND has provided to us. In addition, we ask that each preceptor submit their CDR learning plan and log to provide evidence of continuing education. If you have not submitted this information to us or unsure if the information we have is the most up-to-date, please send an email to Teosha at teosha.nelson@franu.edu. Part of the new 2022 ACEND accreditation standards includes new policies to address diversity, equity, and inclusion. Standard 5.3C states that preceptors must be trained on strategies to recognize and monitor bias in self and others and reduce instances of microaggressions and discrimination. ACEND provides all accredited programs with information and resources to assist in meeting the standard and is centrally and conveniently located on one main page on the ACEND website, which the link is provided here. Some of the information to assist dietetics faculty and preceptors include stories and spotlights, interactive series, journal collections, member interest groups, books and subscriptions, and featured webinars, along with other news and updates. Some strategies that you can take to recognize and monitor bias include evaluating the Academy's current IDEA resources, implementing methods to address bias and discrimination throughout your profession, your work community, and yourself, emphasizing commitment to and promotion of IDEA, fostering a culture of respect, inclusion, equity, and access at all levels throughout the profession and your work community, and increasing knowledge and understanding of outside communities through continuing education. The FranU MS&S program is committed to providing equitable treatment to all students. Standard 8.1D states that the program must establish policies to support the diverse needs of students, ensure an inclusive environment, and to ensure equitable treatment by program faculty and preceptors of students from all backgrounds, including race, ethnicity, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, religion, disability, size, socioeconomic status, and age. Our program achieves this by supporting the diverse needs of each student, providing an inclusive environment free of discrimination, and through living our core value of reverence and love for all of life. Students are encouraged to come forward if they feel discriminated against or treated unfairly. This is reflected in our core value of justice. The program also develops practices to support the diverse needs of students by encouraging diversity in recruitment and admission practices, establishing program and retention practices to support those with diverse needs, offering training activities for faculty and preceptors, providing various educational activities in the classroom and at rotations, and hosting other activities which promote inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. There are many resources out there to assist you in becoming a great preceptor. We encourage you to become a member of NDEP, which is the Nutrition and Dietetic Educators and Preceptors Practice Group through the Academy. The goal of NDEP is to recognize educators and preceptors as leaders of the profession, support and advance nutrition and dietetic education programs, and support the purposes and goals of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. You can learn more about NDEP by visiting eatrightpro.org/NDEP. ACEND has a dietetics preceptor training program which awards 8 CPEUs. This program helps preceptors of dietetic students prepare for and excel in their important role as teachers, coaches, and mentors. Additionally, the Commission on Dietetic Registration offers up to 3 CPEUs per year for a total of 15 CPEUs over a 5-year cycle. Learn more by visiting the links provided here. Lastly, we'd like to recognize some of our outstanding preceptors who were nominated by the class of 2024 for Preceptor of the Year. I am proud to note that 6 of the 18 preceptors who were nominated are alumni of the FranU MS&S program. Congratulations to Allison Junka from the Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Institute, who received the Preceptor of the Year Award for 2023. Congratulations to our first winner, Emily Kerr, from the LSU Student Health Center. Students mentioned that Emily is a fantastic preceptor who is extremely diligent with her patients. She is knowledgeable, helpful, and compassionate. Students have also described her as amazing, awesome, and wonderful. Our second winner is Anne-Marie Romero from Women and Children's Hospital in Lafayette, Louisiana. Anne is described by her students as being very interactive by involving students in all of her daily activities and ensuring they had everything needed to succeed. Students have described her as wonderful, valuable, and exceeded expectations. Congratulations again to Emily and Anne-Marie for being selected as Preceptors of the Year for 2024. Thank you for attending this orientation. We would love your feedback. Please let us know what we are doing well, things we can improve on, suggestions on avenues to promote FranU's graduate program, or how we can better prepare students for your rotation. We are continuously evaluating strategies for program improvement, so any and all feedback is welcomed and encouraged. We hope everyone has a great year.